Good morning. Here we are on a brand new week, and it's Monday, and it's May 4th. And today we're going to talk about our missionary story some more about Ringu. Let's see what happens with that sore foot of his. But before we get started, we have a new verse from now all the way to the end until May 15th. I need you to say it before May 15th, but we're going to practice it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the next week. Okay, you work with it. It's really easy. Are you ready? Here we go. Matthew 22:37. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Can you make a heart, Mrs. Kraft? Oh, there we go. With all your heart. Yeah. With all your soul. Okay. And with all your mind. That means your whole being. God wants just not one little part of you. He doesn't want just the words, oh, I love Jesus. No, he wants you to act like he loves you. The things you do, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you act in obedience to mom and dad. All of that should show that you love God. Not just a little part. People know when you're playing, when you're tricking them, and when you're just pretending. God doesn't want us to pretend with him. He wants our heart, our soul, our mind. Do you know your mind controls this thing right here? Sometimes we think things and it comes out our mouth. We can have kind words come out of our mouth. Great job. Thanks for putting the dishes on the counter. Hey, you folded your laundry and put it away. Nice job. Or you can say, I always have to clean up the kitchen. I hate it. That's right. Or mom makes me sweep all the time. I don't like to sweep. It's not my fault the toy got broken. Yeah. So think about whatever starts up here comes out here. And if Jesus is in our heart, that should change what's in our mind, and good things should come out of our mouth. Now, do bad things happen? Oh, yeah, they do. But do we always need to react in a bad way? Sometimes we don't need to say things. Sometimes it might be up here, but sometimes when we stop and we don't say things, that's God working in our heart. That's God teaching us that he can take care of the problem. Yeah, he can. So are you ready today? We want to see how God took care of Ringu's problem. Do you remember his foot? Remember he stepped on that big thorn? But he won the bullock race. He won the race. His father was so proud of him. But when they got home, oh, do you remember what that witch doctor did? Blew in his ear. Ooh, I don't like people blowing in my ear. Sprinkled that powder on and rubbed it in hard. Oh, let's see what happens, okay? Are you ready? Let's start. Okay. Mrs. Kraft is going to keep going. There we go. Okay. Can you see the picture? Okay. When it was time for school the next morning, Ringu dragged himself to the front porch of his home. He dropped onto the rope bed. His foot and leg hurt terribly. He was feverish, and his head ached. Nothing the witch doctor had done was helping. Not the black powder, not the peacock feather, nothing. Then Ringu saw a large group of people in the distance. He waited impatiently for them to come closer. First he saw Pandu, the man who played the music box at the bazaar. Maybe he would play some music. And then there was Missionary Grub Sahib with a black book in his hand. Ringu quickly unwound his turban and took out the paper from God. When the men reached the front of the house, the missionary greeted his father. Ringu could hear him say he wanted to show pictures in the village. Yes, sometime, Ringu's father said. But my son's foot is hurt, Sahib. The witch doctor doesn't seem to have any power these days. Can you help? The tall man followed Ringu's father to the porch while the people from the village stood around to see what the Sahib would do. As he came close to Ringu, a look of surprise flashed across his face. Aren't you the boy who ran into me at the bazaar? Ah, I see you have the paper I gave you. Have you been reading it? Ringu's father answered for his son. Yes, Sahib, he agreed, wanting to please. My son goes to school. By now his foot is very bad. The missionary put his book down and sat beside Ringu. He looked closely at the sore foot, touching it gently here and there. Yes, I think I can help. Bring a large pan of hot water. Ringu's mother hurried to obey, and her ankle bracelets clinking as she went. Do you see the sore foot? That really looks painful. The missionary put some white powder in the basin and then poured hot water over it. After testing it with his hand, he said, "Here, Ringu, put your foot in this." "You tell my son to put his sore foot, and all the way into water?" Ringu's father asked fearfully. "The evil spirits are in the water. You will get into the sore and make it worse." "Oh, no," the missionary said. "There is medicine in the water. It will draw the soreness out. Just let him put his foot in about halfway for about half an hour." "It is a strange thing," said Ringu's father, "but we will see what happens." Ringu touched the water. He was afraid. He didn't dare put his foot in it any further. Surely the spirits would make his heel worse. But the missionary firmly pushed Ringu's foot into the water, and it felt good. Wow. They think the evil spirits are in the water, boys and girls. Are evil spirits in the water? No. Then something happened that was completely new to Ringu. Mr. Grubb said, "I'm going to pray that Jesus will make your foot well." He bowed his head and said, "You bow your head too." Ringu looked down at his lap and then again at the missionary as he began to pray. Grubb Sahib asked God to watch over his family and to heal Ringu's foot. Ringu decided he would wait to see if this God heard and answered. After he bandaged Ringu's foot, the missionary handed Ringu's father a bag of powder as he stepped off the porch. "Be sure to soak Ringu's foot or it will not get well," he said. Then he was gone. Soon Ringu's foot felt better and his headache disappeared. Maybe what Grubb Sahib said was true and his God really would make his foot well so he could go to school. Ringu wanted more than ever to learn to read. He wanted to read the paper from God because the things Grubb Sahib had said made him think. Could it be true that the God the missionary talked about was more powerful than Satan? Ringu knew he had to find out more. During the evening, Ringu's foot was very sore again. The water must have hurt his foot. The evil spirits must have gone further into the sore. "We won't soak it again," his father said. "After all, we have no goodness in our hands like the Sahib. We may not do it right." Ringu almost cried. He was very frightened. Did the evil spirits know he wanted to learn about the Sahib's God? Where were they? Were they going to make him even sicker? Boys and girls, that was kind of scary, wasn't it? Ringu needs to obey and soak his foot. Several times during the night, Ringu woke up and felt his foot throbbing. Finally, he heard his father feeding the bullocks in their stalls on the other side of the wall. Ringu knew it was almost morning. He moaned and tossed. A while later, he looked out of the open door. He saw his mother sweeping the porch, so he hobbled painfully out to sit on the rope bed. "Mother, my foot is bad," he moaned. "It aches, it hurts. The Sahib told us to put it in water. If we don't do it as he says, maybe I will be sick and not able to go to school and learn to read. And maybe I'll die." "Don't say such a thing, son," his mother pleaded fearfully as father joined them. "It is dangerous for the evil spirits to hear you talk that way." "We must use the water as the Sahib said," father ordered. Mother quickly brought the warm water from the fire and poured it into a pan. Carefully she added the medicine. Ringu lifted his foot hesitantly over it. Slowly he put his heel down in the water. That night and the next morning Ringu soaked his foot. The aching pains began to leave. Ringu's father said, "Good! I hope the Sahib's medicine will make your foot very well." "Ringu, it is almost time to guard the crops at night to keep the hyenas and jackals from spoiling them. My helpers will be gone for 2 days, so you and Batu must watch." A few days later, when the helpers were leaving, Ringu was able to walk without flinching. "The Sahib's God is very powerful. He made my foot well with only powder and water. I will watch the fields tonight, and today I'm going to school with you, Batu," he said joyfully. "I will take my paper from God with me. Maybe I will learn something today so I can be able to read it." "Do you think you should take it to school?" Batu asked. So Ringu knew that there was something important on that paper. Did Batu want him to take it to school? No, he did not. The schoolhouse was like the other houses of the village, with latticed walls and grass roofs. The boys sat cross-legged on the hard dirt floor. There was one small chalkboard at the front of the room. The rest of the walls were bare and plain. When the teacher came in, all the boys stood and saluted. Ringu felt his turban for his paper. How he wanted to read it. The teacher began drilling the class on numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he counted in Hindi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the class repeated. Ringu moved restlessly. Counting was all right, but he wanted to spend all the time learning to read. Then the teacher wrote the numbers 1 to 5 on the small chalkboard. Take your slates and copy these numbers, he commanded. Practice so you will be able to write them well. Ringu frowned. His fingers were still a little clumsy, and he would rather make words. But it wasn't long before his numbers looked as good as the ones the teacher wrote on the board. As the boys worked, the teacher walked slowly up and down between the rows. They have to think and work just like we do, don't they? Would you like to live in a house like this? No windows, it's just open. Thatched roof. Would you like to one room? Would you like to do that? We have such a nice house, don't we, boys and girls? He stopped beside Ringu. What is this? He asked, yanking a paper out of Ringu's turban. Ringu gasped and ducked, expecting a blow. That means he thought the teacher was going to hit him. His paper. The teacher had grabbed his paper. Ringu held his breath. The teacher slipped the paper into his coat pocket and continued to walk up and down the rows of boys. Ringu had to force his fingers to write. How could he get that paper back? He had to have it. Looking up from his slate, Ringu saw the teacher walk to the door. Take the paper out of his pocket and read it carefully. Ringu stiffened. Suddenly, the teacher crumpled the paper and threw it down. Ringu, come here. Ringu trembled as he got to his feet and forced himself to walk to the front of the room. This is about Christians. This is about their God, the teacher exclaimed. Don't ever take a paper like this again. Oh, so he knows that he's in trouble because they don't believe the same way, do they? They do not believe as Ringu did. Ringu wants to believe. He really does want to believe. Okay. Ringu hesitated, then anxiously crossed his arms and pulled his earlobes, the Kurku way of making a promise. See, he crossed his arms and he pulls his ears. Can you do that? Can you cross your arms and pull your ears? Yeah, that makes a promise. Maybe that's a new secret code for you. He confessed his wrong, then said, Oh, teacher, I will never take such a paper again. But in his heart, Ringu desperately wanted to know what the paper said and was determined to get it back. After school, Batu urged his brother to hurry. Come on, Ringu, tonight we go to guard the fields. I'm going to help you make much noise to scare the jackals and the hyenas, more than anyone else. Let's go home. I'm coming, Batu, I'm coming. Ringu stalled until the teacher and all the other boys had left. Tonight is the night they're going to guard the fields. Jackals and hyenas. Do you know what a hyena is? That's right. It's an animal that comes and it'll destroy the crops. Yeah, and jackals are the same way. Okay, here we go. Okay. Then he quickly scooped up the ball of paper in the corner of the schoolroom. Is that the paper the teacher told you not to read? Batu asked. Don't take it. Throw it away. I don't care what the teacher says, Ringu answered. I am going to keep it. I want to find out more about God. I like to think about him because Grub Sahib says the true God loves me. I never like to think about the evil spirits. They fill my heart with fear. Someday soon, I'm going to read this paper and find out what it says. But Ringu, Batu objected. If you don't worship the evil spirits, they will eat you. They may even hurt me too. Throw the paper away and forget about it. I will keep this paper, Ringu insisted as he smoothed it out and carefully tucked it into his turban. The evil spirits haven't eaten the Sahib. They haven't eaten Pandu. Someday I will learn more about God. Now come on, let's go home. As they neared their home, Ringu shouted, Listen, look, there's Pandu playing the music box. How beautiful it is. And there's Grub Sahib. Ringu started to run. He could not read the paper yet, but there was the Sahib. Now he was surely going to hear more about the one true God. When Ringu believed what he heard? Okay, we'll have to find out next time. Hey, let's go over this verse one more time. Are you ready? Matthew 22:37. 37. Can't get my fingers working fast today. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart. Make a heart. Okay. With all thy soul. That means your whole being. Okay. And with all thy mind. Okay. Practice that, boys and girls. Have a good day.